So you mentioned you were proud when you were looking at the billboard sign, Route 93. Is that
Yeah,
Route
93,
93,
yeah.
right? And you're sitting there and you're looking at it, and that was a proud moment. But if you had to reflect overall on your life, right, and work, business, family, whatever it may be, what would you say makes you the proudest about where you are now?
Um, you know, everything that I do now is really, we talked a little bit about this, but is to make sure that I leave my family off in a better position than I was, right? So what makes me the most proud is to say that at the age of 38, I've accomplished that, substantially better than where I was. Um, that's what I do it for. Don't get me wrong. I love the success. I like the, the, the notoriety. It's fun. It's nice.
It is. It is.
It's rewarding. It makes you feel good. I love being able to help other people. Um, but number one, the drive that I have is to make sure my family is all set. And I would say that makes me the most proud that I've built a brand, a business that's known and that is in a situation that if I weren't there would make sure my family is set for, I would say I don't know, I wouldn't go that extensive and say their lifetime, right? But it puts them in a position where they're not behind the eight ball.
Right.
They're in a good starting point where they're not struggling to have to pay for college or, you know, they can kind of enjoy their childhood because we never really talked about it, but you mentioned it about working at a young age and what my thoughts on it. I started working when I was really working. I know we mentioned working at the
Said
food
you're,
hall,
yeah,
but I started really working at the age of like 13. I was fortunate enough that there was a business in Somerville that my family kind of ran, and I was able to start working there at a young age, and it was great. And I worked there throughout high school and a little bit of college, and I'm all for anyone that wants to work at whatever age they want to. Some people are more mature than others. But I do regret not playing more sports in high school and then playing any sports in college. It's because my focus was to work, right? It was to pay for my schooling, to pay for things that I wanted, because all the money I had was from me working, right? I didn't have any other money. So I almost felt like I had to. I want my kids to feel like they can work a little bit while they're in high school and college if they want to buy their own stuff, but I don't want them to feel like they need to do that. I want
Sure.
them to experience high school and college and, because you only experience that
One
once, you
time,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So
and you don't realize how much of a key moment it was in your life till you reflect on it at 38 or 30.
yeah,
I'm 37, so we're around the same age. So.
I traveled to and from. I went to Suffolk for my bachelor's, so I didn't stay there, and I wouldn't change that. I don't know if I want to stay there. It was so much more expensive. I didn't feel like I needed to, but I wasn't super invested in the community, in that community, because I would go to school, I'd do my work, I'd come home, I'd work, and it was just back and forth. So again, I never did any extracurriculars there because I didn't have the time to. I didn't play any sports there because I just didn't have the time to. It was never something I really looked into because I'm like, I can't do this. I can't invest in that time. I wish I was a little bit more invested in some of that, in some of those things. But again, I wouldn't change anything now because that helped build my personality and my drive, right? To again, the value of money. I would work 40, 50 hours a week. I'd work 12, 13-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts on the weekends at the age of 16, 17, 18 years old. And I didn't mind it because it was, you were grinding, you were hustling.
It's the the sacrifice to create generational wealth in a way where it's like you didn't know any other way, right?
Yeah.
Like you sacrificed all that because you were like, it's all I have. Like
Yeah.
what I have is what I've made is what I have, and I have to continue to make it if I want more. And then you have kids, and you're like, well, I got to set them up and put them in a place where they're good and can appreciate the things and partake in the things that I wasn't able to.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't think, and I'll say this, I'm like, I appreciate people like you, because our kids won't understand it till they have their kids and get older. You know,
Yeah.
like they just think that we're just tough parents sometimes or things like that. So I just gotta say that's kick ass, man.
I
Like
appreciate
congrats
it.
on what
Thank
you've
you.
accomplished.